Om. Ekdantam chaturhastam pashramakushadharinam radam cha varadam hastair vibranam mushakadhvajam raktam lambodaram shurpakarnakam raktavasasam raktagandhanuliptangan raktapushpaisu pujitam bhaktanukampinam devam jagatkaranam achyutam avibhutam cha shishtayadav prakrite purushat param एवं ध्यायति यो नित्यं स योगी योगिनां वरः। ओम नमो व्रातपतये नमो गणपतये नमः प्रमथपतये नमस्तेस्तु लंबोदराय एकदन्ताय विघ्ननाशिने शिवसुताय श्रीवरदमूर्तये नमो नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भान् शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरु परम्परां वन्दे गुरु परम्परां। ओम जय स्वामी समर्थ। श्री स्वामी समर्थ। So today's topic for our discussion, and this is the last class for the Dipalankar. What a beautiful journey of 6 months. Absolutely amazing, hardcore Vedantic teaching and hardcore spiritual teaching. No beating around the bush. We went straight into inquiry, self-inquiry, and into understanding the root cause of problems and root cause of all the sufferings. So today's topic, Dhyan, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. We call it Samyam in the Yoga Sutra, in the Yoga philosophy. Trayam Ekatra Samyam. That means that these three together form Samyam. Samyam, normally word is used, when we use in our common language, Samyam, we use it as a moderation, word for moderation. Samyam here is all the three coming together. Together, when we apply this as a formula, this is called Samyam. All right. And there's a whole big chapter in the Yoga Sutras, Vibhuti Pada, dedicated to Samyam. In very common understanding, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, these are the three last limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga. You know, when we talk about Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. The Bahiranga Sadhana is practiced before. That is something you have to bring into active practice. The Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, this is called the Bahiranga Sadhana. Pratyahar is the bridging step. And then Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi is called Antaranga Sadhana. So first, briefly, we'll talk about doing justice to the yoga philosophy, where this is used together as Samyam. Let us talk something about this. Then we'll talk about the application of this Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi in our life, external life, worldly life. We'll talk about that. That is more relevant to me today, because I always try to speak from your point of view, from your need point of view. How do you need it? Many of you are not here to become sadhus and sannyasis. They are here to become more successful in the external world. And therefore, the application of your Vedantic wisdom, yogic wisdom has to come in application with your outside world. Otherwise, it would not interest you much, right? So, Dharana is normally bringing your attention to one point. Dharana is to culminate or, bring together. Ekagrata, hum bolte hain jisko. In Hindi, we say ekagrata. That means to bring it all, converge it all together. Convergence of your mind and reducing the activity of the mind, reducing the size of the mind, you can say at that moment, to bring it to a shunya. So dharana means that you start a practice where you are cutting off, and it comes after pratyahar. In the Ashtanga yoga system, it comes after pratyahar, which means after withdrawal. So without withdrawal, dharana cannot happen. Very simple to understand. Without withdrawal, dharana cannot happen. And we'll talk vis-a-vis the worldly aspects a little later, but here, talking of meditation directly, Dharana cannot happen without pratyahar. That means you have to withdraw from everything. You cannot say that, okay, let the cooker be there on the gas, let something be going on. Okay, I'm keeping the phone here. It's on vibratory mode. It's not on silent. So if I hear the vibration, I will pick up the phone. Pratyahar means literally withdrawing. I can give you a very mundane, very stupid, mundane example for this. I used to sit by the Ganga when I was living in proper Rishikesh town. We have these steps there to sit by the Ganga and meditate, pray, whatever. So I used to sit in the evening to meditate there. Evening time, very beautiful time. The aarti is going on there, and you can hear the chants, and the water is getting very beautifully silent now as the evening, is happening. The night is happening. You sit down for meditation. I used to carry my phone with me, my towel with me, sometimes a bag with me. And when I'm sitting down there, one day I literally understood the meaning of this dharana. Practically understood in my head. Some voice said to me, you have to leave all this behind to come and meditate. My phone is there. I'm adjusting the phone under my thighs, or I'm hiding the bag because there are monkeys, there are people there, so many people there. Somebody can just lift my bag and go. My house keys used to be there. So I used to sit there, and I couldn't. This is a couple of days experience, I'm telling you. One day, then when the voice came in my head that you have to leave all this behind if you want to sit and meditate here. And I just left my phone behind, my house keys. I just hid this somewhere outside the door, and I left everything, and I just came alone to the stairs, and I could see that this pratyahar helped me. Small little pratyahar helped me. I could meditate. So without pratyahar, dharana does not happen. All right. Dharana means your focus. Dharana means your focus, and that means converging your mind to a pinpoint. So many different practices come under dharana. Like you have the Tratak exercise, the candle gazing, candle flame gazing. Tratak is there. There is mandala dharana that we talk about when we draw mandala or a yantra for a devi. We keep our focus on so we keep it on the eye level. We keep it normally on the eye level, where it's easy to just keep your focus and fix your eyes to the point. There are two important things here in dharana, which are very, they're notable, because when we bring it to the eye level, and eyeballs are not moving, much of the activity of the mind stops. When the eyes are fixed to a point and you are not moving your eyeballs, you're not unnecessarily scattering your attention. The eyes are fixed to a point. It brings the flow of the mind and the energy. For those of you who have done Urjavali, Stotravali with me, we spoke about something called Pravaha. Pravaha is the flow of the Marut Pavans that is stationed here in between the brows. The Pravaha of energy, especially the Marut Pavans, goes in a straight army-like manner. They start marching in the straight army-like manner to the target where you are fixing your attention, So dharana is a very, very important aspect in meditation, especially. Many of you who are practicing meditation, CI plus meditation, TM, or whichever practice you're doing, whichever style of meditation you're doing, we close our eyes and we do the dharana with eyes closed. You can do the dharana with eyes closed also. Externally, if your eyes are open, then you can do tratak on a particular point. You can fix your gaze at a particular dot, even if it's a small dot somewhere. Just fix your eyes to that and, sync with your breath so that the flow of pravaha goes to that point. Dharana is the first step of your meditation practice, so stage of your meditation practice. And however big you become, good you become in your meditation practice, we go through this step ladder into dhyana and consequently in samadhi. Okay, we go through this step ladder. So dhyana is a very important thing for people who are already into the meditation practice. They close their eyes and they fix their attention. This is dharana. Fixing your attention is called dharana. Fix their attention to one point. Don't let the eyeballs move. Normally recommended is the center of the heart. I normally ask you to apply your samyam to the center of the heart. But there are many other practices that tell you to focus here, to focus here, to focus here. Different styles talk about different points of dharana, but dharana is the same. That means that the mind is now coming into ekagrata and the mind is now withdrawn from everything. Pratyahara has happened and you are now focusing and going. It's like when you open the tap, water tap, a few drops fall down first and then you're adjusting the tap, so that there is a continuous flow of energy. This continuous flow of water, ek dhara mein behna, this comes when you enter into dhyana, So the initial opening is dharana, where you are now focusing and completely taking your energy, and the pravaha is going in at one point. When this flow becomes incessant and when this flow becomes very easy, when this flow is not just getting distracted by any noise, any sound, when this flow takes you into sync with your breath, then it takes you into dhyana. And dhyana means that you have come closer to the object on which you are meditating. Object on which you are meditating means, again, many meanings come out of this one sentence. Suppose I am meditating on the Mahaganpati Pratima, idol of Mahaganpati. Suppose I am doing Dharana on Mahaganpati Pratima. So I am sitting here and the Ganesha is there and I am just gazing. I'm doing Tratak on the Pratima. When you enter into Dhyana, then I find myself very close to the Ganesha. I find my astitva, I find my presence very close to Ganesha. It's almost as if I'm in the Ganesha. And when you enter into deep meditation, then there is only Ganesha and there is no me. So in the deeper sense of understanding through yoga, Dharana is bringing your mind together and consolidating your ego system, antakaran. You know the antakaran now with me. Man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. All of this is consecrated and brought, it's consecrated and, bringing them together also. Bringing them together also into a flow of energy. And this dissolves in the target. So if you are focusing on, if you're doing dharana on a yantra, then all your entire mind energy, all your intellect and all the attention completely dissolves in the yantra. When there is only the yantra and you are not there, if you find only the yantra and you are not there, the presence of this yantra, a floating presence of this yantra and you are not there, then you have entered into dhyana. All right. And when even this yantra disappears, or when this Mahaganpati, if I'm focusing on Mahaganpati, even when the Mahaganpati disappears, I disappear and I'm only experiencing light. When there is no presence of any object, then that is called a state of Samadhi. All right. Which is a far away thing for people who are practicing in newcomers, or when their minds are not yet consolidated, cleansed, and they're not purified. Reaching the state of Samadhi is rare. It can happen. It's not that it can't happen. It's kripa sadhya. It's not karma sadhya. When God's kripa is there, it happens. There's only light and there is nothing else. All right. So that Samadhi state is not what we are targeting at. We are targeting at right way to do dharana, right way to enter into dhyana. And then Samadhi is something that will happen on its own. All right. So this was regarding, the meditation. There is an entire chapter dedicated in Yoga Sutra. Yoga Sutra is the philosophy in itself. Just like you have Vedanta philosophy, you have Sankhya philosophy. Mokshana was asking me that day, so Vedas, she asked a very relevant question. So Vedas, when did the Vedas come? And, these are these Shadadarshan, what you call, the Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Purva Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa, Yoga, Sankhya. Well, these philosophies are what? Are they a part of Veda? She was asking me, and I told her that Vedas are downloaded. Vedas are most rudimentary aspects of this, of our tradition. Most, they came first. However, they're in Sanskrit. They're in Sanskrit and they're in very difficult Sanskrit, like Vedas especially, very difficult Sanskrit. So the interpretation of the different aspects of the Veda, different content of the Veda has happened over many centuries by different scholars and different schools of thought. The way I look at it, for instance, Bhagavad Gita is translated by the Dvaita sadhaks in a different way and the Advaita sadhaks in a different way. You know, the content is the same. However, I'm looking at it from different points of view. So these Shad Darshan, or these different schools of philosophy that we spoke about in our classes, you know, they are different ways of looking at the Vedic content. There are different ways of looking at life and creation as such, how the creation has happened, etc. All right. So the yoga philosophy, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, you know, talks. So there's one chapter dedicated to Samyam. And Samyam at different areas gives you different vibhutis. The chapter speaks about vibhutis. And like Phalashruti, you know, we've done stotras, you've done stotravali with me. Like Phalashruti is an encouragement and a motivation to the sadhak to go ahead with the chanting. In the same way, Vibhuti Pad is more encouraging for you to enter into the state of Samyam or enter into the state of Samadhi. It's an encouragement. The whole chapter is dedicated. So, you know, Samyam is absolute excellence of your effort. When we look at Samyam from the worldly point of view, I'll talk about the vibhutis a little bit. Let's consider the word Samyam from the worldly point of view. Suppose you want to excel in something. You want to excel in something, or there is a target, there is a project that you are working on, you know. So Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi applies even there. Dharana is like ekagrata and bringing your mind completely into focus, you know, completely into, and it starts with pratyahar, like I told you. It's the next step of pratyahar. That means withdrawal becomes an essential factor for any one-pointed focus. Withdrawal becomes an essential factor for any one-pointed focus, unless you're withdrawing from mundane and from things that are diversifying your attention. Mind is one equipment. It's one inner equipment that is God power, fathomless power supported by the consciousness itself. So mind can help you tap into the power of the consciousness, which is fathomless, which is immeasurable. All right. So this mind, which can tap into the power of consciousness, should not be left, you know, unmonitored, because then it goes grazing into several areas, and to bring it back in like sheep, you know, spreading out over a vast field of land, and you can't bring them all together again. It's like that's the way the mind is. So Dharana becomes an important aspect in any worldly field as well. And for that, pratyahar is a mandatory step. Pratyahar, that means you need to withdraw. If you're focusing on a project, if there is a completion date target, you have to withdraw from a lot of mundane things that divert your mind or drain your energy system. The energy system, mind and energy system. All of you know that the mind and the prana are wedded to each other. They are hand in hand with each other. And whatever goes on in the mind, the prana supports it, and the prana gives it power. Whatever goes on in the mind, the prana gives it power. So you have to be careful about what's going on in the mind. So dharana, in the first step of what you call success, you know, in the first step, is an important aspect which includes withdrawal as well as putting all your focus into one point. And with this focus comes obviously gathering of information, knowledge, the right kind of kriyas, the right kind of practices, the right kind of discipline. Everything comes into dharana, you know. And then when the flow of energy starts, where you are now focusing on and actually working on whatever project you have taken, that becomes the state of dhyana, where you're dissolving yourself completely into that aspect, into that project or undertaking, or into that step where you want to be, that stage where you want to be. That becomes your state of dhyana. And if your personality completely dissolves, that means if the ego completely dissolves in what you have become and in the state of dhyana, then you will achieve the stage of samadhi, which is the apex of any becoming. It is the apex of any becoming. These three stages of dharana, dhyan, samadhi apply to all the fields of the world. They apply to all the fields of the world where we take, we set up a success point. You know, it can be from a small something that you're doing to a big something you're doing. A small something you're doing, let's say today you want to finish a write-up, or you want to finish a particular report, or you want to write down something that is very important, or a small task where you want to submit something in an office, even right from such small level of works, errands, to bigger projects and bigger targets and bigger aims of life. Samyam, and when these three things are applied together, and of course, it need not be said again and again that meditation helps you to achieve worldly as well as other worldly goals. Meditation helps you to achieve. So even if it is a worldly goal and you want your life to become a life of ekagrata and dhyana, I'm talking something very big now. If you want your life to become a life of ekagrata and dhyana, and you want at the end of your life to be entering into samadhi, then it becomes very mandatory for you to first follow the bahiranga sadhana, yam, niyam, asan, pranayam. That means that yam, niyam, you have to set rules for your life. You have to draw you have to draw boundaries, and you have to come into a proper discipline of life and withdraw from things that hinder your path, and abstain from things that includes everything from lifestyle management to food management to your physical, mental discipline, exercises, yoga, workouts, everything. It includes all of that. And then take to pratyahar. That means that which is not related to your life purpose should be taken out of your life. That means that energy should not be wasted anywhere else other than what your purpose is. And this purpose of your life, again, is a culmination or a combination, integration of your spiritual purpose, your professional purpose, and your family purpose. If you're a family person, you're married, you have children, then that also is your purpose. You cannot take that out of your purpose unless you decide to move out of that purpose. Okay, your professional purpose, your office duties and dharma connected with your work, and your life purpose, your spiritual purpose. So a combination of these three should become your dharana, and everything else should be pratyahar. That means you remove all the external aspects. And then the dhyana stage of your life happens when you find your purpose, and when you find that this is what I want to work towards, this is what I want to build up my energy towards. It's like one incessant pravaha or flow going to this one point where you want to become so and so, or this and that. All right. They say that, the yogis always say that setting up a higher spiritual goal will give you everything. Setting up a material goal will give you material acquisition, but leaves you with a lot of incompleteness inside. It leaves you with a lot of incompleteness inside. So if you're a yogi, if you're a tarot reader, you're an astrologer, you're a healer, you're a therapist, you're a counselor, you're a PLR expert, your goal, should be to become the best of that and not to have a turnover target. If you focus, keep your dharana dhyan and move towards samadhi, towards becoming the best of that practitioner, the material success and every worldly success will automatically happen. The attention needs to be kept on becoming that of the highest order. And therefore the yogis have always asked you not to externalize your goals, internalize the goals, and that brings you more and more towards success. So samyam, is a very beautiful thing wherever you apply. I mean, in simple things like we did a sun upasana, surya upasana, we did when we did our urjavali. We did aditya hridaya stotra, we did suryashtakam. Gazing on the sun or meditating on the sun, they say that all the knowledge of the world comes to you. Samyam is like a stamp. It's like together. It's a power that you develop within, and it starts with practicing meditation. You can apply samyam anywhere in the world, believe you me, if you start practicing meditation with this correct understanding that 3 stages of my meditation, these are the 3 stages of my meditation, that I have dharana, I do dharana, then I move towards dhyana, and then I go into samadhi, where I'm completely ready to lose myself. When I'm completely ready to lose myself, people do not touch higher levels of dhyana and enter into samadhi, because the ego is not ready to drop itself. The ego is not ready to drop itself. You don't want to lose yourself. You want to remain and you want to be in samadhi. That does not happen. You want to remain and you want to come into samadhi. That does not happen. So dhyana can happen Dhyana can happen, the complete ekagrata of the mind can be experienced, and you know that you're just this unflinching, unwavering presence that you're experiencing. And there is nothing that is distracting you, not even the sounds and the voices that are coming from outside. They're not moving you. The energy is, completely come together. It is integrated and come together. Dhyana you achieve if you sit regularly for meditation. So samyam, the application of samyam starts with meditation. It starts with meditation, and then samyam can happen anywhere, even in your body. The sutras talk about putting samyam on your crown. If you apply samyam on the crown. What do you mean applying samyam on the crown? That means you take the crown as the dharana. You go into meditation in the crown, and you touch the levels of samadhi on the crown. Then Siddha Darshanam, you get Siddha Darshanam. That means that you can visit the higher realms of the ancestors, of the masters, and you people show up, the Siddhas and men of perfection, they show up. You can easily get darshan of all the ascended masters and teachers. Samyam on the throat, they say that you can completely conquer hunger. Hunger can be the pit of the throat, right? The pit of the throat. If you put your samyam, apply samyam, hunger can be completely eradicated. That means people, there are yogis, but they don't eat food. They don't eat anything, and they live on just prana and water. And, they have this vibhuti or the siddhi of this particular point. They put their samyam here. They meditate here every day to completely conquer hunger. Similarly, around here, there's a kurma nadi in the throat area, backside of the throat, near the throat chakra. There's a kurma nadi, tortoise nadi. Yeah, you can gain stability of the body and the mind with kurma nadi. So there are people who put their samyam completely on the throat area. When we did the chaya upasana, many of you have been learning with me for a long time now. You did chaya upasana. Putting your attention on the throat brings stability of the mind and body. The whole throat area. In fact, the kurma nadi, to be more specific, the pinpointed point is that kurma nadi. Attention put, samyam put over there. And when we say samyam, I'm not just saying attention, I'm saying samyam. Attention means dharana, and samyam means dharana, dhyan, samadhi. So when I say the putting attention, or going deeper into the pit of the throat, applying samyam there means that for days together, people put their dhyana here, and they enter into meditation, and they dissolve completely into this spot. That is what it means by applying some samyam here. Applying samyam on the heart, on the heart, you can completely master the awareness of your antakaran. Completely master the awareness of your antakaran. That means that the chitta becomes very shant. The chitta becomes very shant. All the lower mind and the conscious mind, they come in harmony with each other, and the higher mind ties up, holds hands. So the entire antakaran comes into your awareness. That means what's happening in my mind, what's happening in my brain, what's happening with the ego, and where is this coming from? This memory is coming from, or where is this thought arising? Your whole antakaran mapping becomes very clear to you when you apply samyam on the heart. And when you apply samyam on the deeper flame of the heart, that means in the light that is there inside, when you apply samyam there, then you understand everything. Your intuition opens up, and you understand everything about the past, present, and future. And all the intuitive wisdom is open to you. All the knowledge of the three worlds is open to you, etc. Similarly, samyam applied to the navel, it gives you complete understanding of body's anatomy and physiology, and what's happening into your body. People who are Vaidya, they're doctors, and they're Vaidya. They have studied anatomy and physiology, and they know how to set right things in the body. If they do the samyam, if they apply samyam on the solar plexus or on the nabhi, their inner voice speaks and gives diagnosis. That's what many of the Vaidyas do. They do the nadi prashikshan, and they hear the voice in their head. Exact diagnosis they can give. These are all siddhis that come out of samyam. Samyam is a very powerful thing. Dharana, dhyan, samadhi together is profound. It makes you a sadhu, actually. All right, but when you have desires in your system, and when you are living a worldly life, then the same dharana, dhyan, samadhi can be applied to your external world also. Like people want to become good musicians, they want to become good sportsmen, they want to be scientists, everything. They have the pratyahar, they apply pratyahar, they apply withdrawal to everything, and they have bring one pointed focus to what they want to do, and that's the apex. The samadhi is the state of, is the zenith of where they want to be. That's the target. So application of the samyam is there outside in the world also. Inside it is there, of course, it is there inside. And meditation being the primary practice, meditation being the primary practice for all of the professions in the world. People who meditate, and special meditations are developed for people who are in sports, for people who are in music, for people who are artists. They develop special meditative techniques with which exactly the power that they require is tapped into. You can tap into. All right. So today's relevance, why I have taken this topic today, it's the last class for the Dipalankar. And of course, the journey is continuing. All of you are continuing. And if you're not, understand that you're not here in this group for the past 6 months. Aapko pata bhi nahi laga 6 mahine kaise khatam ho gaye. It's gone so fast because we've been completely engrossed in so much of wisdom, so much of knowledge. The 4 Upanishads that you studied with me were so absorbing and so beautiful that we didn't realize 6 months have gone. And and most of you are continuing with your journey into the Jyotish Vidya with me. The Jyotish Vidya is not something that I want, and a smart astrologer it's not so much intellectual as much it is spiritual. The study is going to be not as much so calculating, manipulating, smart astrologer, but it is more a spiritual astrologer whose presence and just putting a glance at someone's patri will transform the events of the client. This is the kind of astrologer I want you to become. A very deeply spiritual, insightful person who would, teach how to surf over the planets and would absolve or remove the suffering of the person that comes, or even you yourself. Many of you wouldn't be interested in giving consultation to anybody. You would want to study. And the highest reason for you being in this course with me is to not leave this circle of love and light, not leave this energy field where you are there with me. And we meditate every week, every Sunday we meet. And there's so much of transmission of wisdom, knowledge, support, help, energy, healing that happens. This is one reason alone because of which you should not leave the study. Don't get out of that discipline, Sunday discipline. Put yourself into it. Even if you don't want to become astrologer, even if you don't want to learn per se astrology, but the very, jaw-dropping information about every planet, about the, the personification of that planet, the energy, the field, the impact, the electromagnetic impact that it has on the mind, the way your thoughts are being processed because of these planetary mesh, and how to transcend them, how to transcend that, how to let that loose. And the mantras to gain the siddhi of that planet, the dhyanas, different dhyanas, the conversations with the planets, so many things which just as general knowledge is such a fascinating thing about yourself. Even your own patri through the course, even if you just take your own patri and study with me for 6 months, you will be an enlightened person. This is reason alone for you to be there. Don't leave the group. There are very few of them who are not wanting to do out of the Palankar, they want to stop. But even those people, I would love to hold their hand and bring them back here. Don't leave the study. This is what I mean. All right. So the Dharana Dhyan Samadhi was my purpose to put this in the last class, was that all your study with me, at least if you talk about the last 6 months, these are the purpose of this study is to develop Dharana. Dharana into your inner self, inner capability, Dharana into the Brahman, into the consciousness, which is all pervading and the substratum of everything, the source of all that is, to bring your Dharana, you have to bring your attention inward, and to start befriending consciousness, at least start befriending consciousness. When I spoke to someone yesterday, and I was telling her that, she's been studying with me for some time now. And I told her that, the more you are focusing on your inside and developing your inner abilities, like putting a sandpaper and polishing and taking out the gleam of your mind, rubbing off all the unnecessary ignorant stuff out of your mind and ego. The more and more you're using the juna, to just rub and create a sparkle inside, the more you see the transformation happening on the outside of you. The more you see the transformation happening on the outside of you. And when I say transformation, it means a hassle-free movement through life. A hassle-free movement through life where all the unnecessary things are dropping off, unnecessary people are dropping off, unnecessary gichis are dissolving and opening up, and you don't become a part of anything anymore. So the inside application, the inward journey of Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi is something that needs to be, the last class that needs to be spoken about, that all this information that you are gathering about the prana, about the antakarna, about the Brahman, the different analogies that we studied through the course, the different understanding about karma and about, life after life and about the other worlds. Kathopanishad gave us so many insights about the journey. All of this is not for you to just cram and, make your basket of intelligence bigger. It's not for that. It's for, in fact, emptying the basket of unnecessary things and bringing attention completely inward to contact the Brahman. If you are able to befriend consciousness, and if you are able to befriend the innermost source of wisdom, intelligence, and knowledge, then you have it all. You have it all that you can ever think about, and then this samyam, because the samyam becomes a way of life. Samyam becomes a way of life. It's there with me. I experience it. I'm fascinated by making candles. In the past 1 month, I am, working on candles, and I'm thinking about candles day and night. And even yesterday night, today morning, I forgot that I have to take a class today. I forgot I have to take a class today. I said, hello, girl, this is Sunday. You have to take a class today. So the samyam applies to every activity that you would do. It'll apply. If you're cooking, you'll just cook with so much of joy. If you're talking to a person, you'll speak with so much of joy. If you're doing anything, you'll do with so much of love and so much, because the samyam becomes a way of life. Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi is a sequence that you automatically come into. And this would bring you into the now. You hear about in all the reels and everywhere, all across the internet, and the art of coming into the now, the presence of being just here and now. And can you just be? And can you just, what do you mean by can you just be? You have kind of consolidated and brought together all your energy into this present moment, and that's what it means to be. Can you do that without Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi? You can't do that, because the fragmented mind is splitting and going into 360 degrees. Your attention is wavering into 360 degrees, running across the whole wheel. Can you come to the axle point or to the center point of the wheel? That is what it means by being here in the now. When we talk about the being here in the now, or being present in this present moment, or just being and not thinking, means you've consolidated. You have done pratyahar, and you've come into the present moment. Into the present moment, attending to what needs to be attended. So this way of life, this is a way of life, and this is something that you have to train yourself into, to just be. So attention needs to be withdrawn from outside, and needs to be brought inside. It needs to be brought inside, dealing with the contamination of the mind, dealing with a lot of unconscious stuff. This is all the time coming up again and again. The fears that come, the impressions that come, the presumptions, assumptions, and the perceptive ignorance, so much of perceptive ignorance. All of that needs to be cleansed. And that's why regular spiritual practices are recommended. You cannot have Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi, unless you have dealt with the earlier limbs, unless you have done with the preparatory steps of life. So as a part of sadhana, to make your Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi very effective, to make your samyam very effective, we tell you to do so many things. Read the stotras every day, listen to your videos every day, make notes every day, write down your things every day, revise, keep revising, and remain in an energy field which is very, very positive. Remain in that energy circle which is very, very positive and does not let you derail. go off the track, because it's very easy to lose yourself again into the world. Very easy to lose yourself again into the world. And, oh, we did that, I studied that 5 years back with Ma, we did that. And that it remains in your intellectual memory, and that's it. You have to keep yourself on the track. You have to keep yourself on the track and keep doing the practices of cleansing your mind and doing away with the subconscious programs, doing away with the old programs. Let it be through your affirmations, let it be through your forgiveness and Ho'oponopono, let it be through your hypnotherapy or through your PLR sessions, whatever therapies you take help of, cleansing your unconscious, clearing your unconscious, not letting it come into your conscious mind, and making your relationship with the higher conscious more and more profound is what all the practices are for. They will lead you and take you into Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. They will take you into Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. You must understand, however, intellectually, it's important for you to understand that living a life of Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi, that means being able to consciously apply samyam to any area of your life. And when I say any area of your life, it does not mean stupid tamasic areas of your life. I mean either the rajasic or the sattvic. Rajasic is perfect, when you want worldly success. You cannot have worldly success without rajas. You have to incorporate rajas into your exuberance, practicality, color, variety. All of this needs to be applied. And smartness, what you call it. You need to apply rajas for your worldly success. However, holding the hand of sattva. So there are ethical parameters and ethical walls that you're walking on. There is a channel that you have made, and a canal that you have made that you're walking into. So holding the hand of sattva, rajas for practical living, for worldly living, and moving eventually into sattva to understand the inward journey and applying the samyam inward. To be able to liberate yourself before you end this life. All right. So that was something about Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. And we have some very beautiful 2 questions remaining out of the whole list of questions that were there in the Palankar. Yeah. Yeah. So that's very beautiful to see you, Mokshana, Radhika, lovely to see you, Mika, Sarita. So nice to see you. If there is any question you want to ask about what I've said just now, please ask. Otherwise, I'm going to moving to the question that is there here. Yeah. Lovely. So a very beautiful question given by Sunny in Sunny's list, in Tanmay's list, which is in line with what we have spoken just now. He says that ability, willingness, and discipline. Ability, willingness, and discipline. These are the 3 things that one needs to actualize good outcomes in life. How can we cultivate discipline using Vedantic wisdom? This is his question. How can we cultivate discipline using Vedantic wisdom? Where ability, willingness, and discipline are the fundamental requirements. Ability, that means skills. Willingness, that means ichha. So, ichha shakti, jnana shakti. Ability comes in jnana shakti. Willingness comes in ichha shakti. Ichha shakti, jnana shakti, and karma shakti. These are the 3 shaktis that give you success, that help you to succeed. In karma shakti, discipline is a mandatory thing, because without discipline, karma cannot come into right fruition. You cannot get results. It needs, there is a proper, if you have to sow the seeds at a particular time, you have to sow them at a particular time. You can't do that at night, or you can't do that at any hour that you want. So an essential aspect of karma shakti is discipline. How does Vedanta help you to come into discipline? When you understand the working of things, Vedanta gives you a proper explanation of how the antakarna works and how the energy system works and how the results are born, and detachment to the results. Many times we don't come into discipline because of hiding fear or unconscious programs of failures. Unconscious programs of failures are there. There is a ichha, there is willingness, and there is ability, that is jnana. For instance, there could be an engineer who would want to become an entrepreneur or would want to become an industrialist. He has the ichha, he has the desire, And he also has the know-how. He also has the know-how. That means he has the ability, he knows what needs to be done. However, he is not able to take that step. He lacks discipline. Maybe he lacks discipline, or the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that need to be aligned to bring his dream into fruition, or to bring his dream into manifestation or reality. The discipline he lacks, the courage he lacks. The unconscious mind may be clouded with a lot of failures, maybe, having a lot of signals coming from inside, unknown signals coming from inside, or you can't do it, or you don't do it, or things like that. So things that affect the discipline part of it, that's a question, main part of the question. What stops us from coming into discipline? What stops us from coming into discipline? Fear and confidence, both these, fear and confidence. Fear is definitely there. It takes you into procrastination. It takes you into physical lethargy and laziness. Whenever anything is surfacing from the unconscious, whenever anything surfaces from the unconscious, it eats a lot of prana. It eats a lot of prana, it eats a lot of energy, and it puts the body in a rest mode. It puts the body in the rest mode, and the body cells are given the message that you're tired and you want to sleep, or you want to just laze, or you just want to not start yet. So lack of discipline comes from a loaded unconscious mind interfering into your present mind, first of all. Also fears, you can't translate and literally understand or say what the fear is. You can't say exactly pinpointedly what the fear is, but there's a lot of fear that is there in the unconscious that comes in the path of discipline, because when you say you are in discipline, your ego it gets attached to the discipline, and it gets attached to the result of the discipline, and to the result of the efforts that you put. So Vedantic wisdom, when you understand the working of the ego and the whole process of detachment, when you understand, and when you're convinced about it, then you will gather yourself and bring yourself into discipline without being attached to the results of that discipline, without being attached to the product of what you're doing. Vedantic wisdom creates a kind of a light in your intellect. When you're studied Vedanta, it creates a kind of light in your intellect that makes you understand that you are lethargic and you are tired and you are procrastinating, or you're pushing these steps ahead because you're worried. And the segregation of the ego from the doing, helps a lot in taking those initial steps into discipline. When you segregate the ego, kartapan especially, and the doing is just taken up as an act of surrender, or as an act of letting go. I'm going to just do it and let go. For instance, I'm not bothered if my candles are failing and if they're not throwing out enough scent. I just don't bother about it. I don't start questioning myself. Do I know enough? Have I gathered enough information, etc.? It should be a very easy, it should be a very easy doing. Discipline can come when you let yourself take the steps not as an act of punishment, or not as an act of compulsion, or not like you become a donkey when someone whipping you. You have to do it. Discipline should be taken in the mode of love and in the mode of letting go. I shall do this because I have the ichcha and the jnana, both. I have the willingness and I have the ability, both. And I wish to get into discipline and action to just fulfill this whole process, and that helps you to then at least move forward. That discipline that you get inside with ease, with love, with a letting go kind of attitude, this will help you to further tighten the ropes of discipline. First it has to come with a lot of love. It should never come with a whip. It shouldn't come with it should come with a lot of love, with a lot of deep understanding in your head how important it is for you to get into these steps. Yeah. What is the difference between Vikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi? The conditioned consciousness, when it is completely dissolved, then it is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. When the conditioned consciousness is still there, then it is Savikalpa Samadhi. But there's a whole chapter that talks about. I will take you to the Yoga Sutras someday, Tanmay. In fact, many of you, I want to take you all to Yoga Sutras. We'll talk about it when we are starting the new course. Then I'll, your spiritual learning should not stop for any other learning. It shouldn't stop. So I'll open up these Yoga Sutra lessons for all of you one by one. Okay.
Pranam.
Pranam, Jiteriye. Who's this?
Ma, Mamta, Mokshana.
Hello.
Yeah, Ma, Pranam, Mokshana.
Mokshana, yes.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ma. Ma, my question is, you have brought me to a level of discipline and Nishkam sadhana with lot of love and teaching me and me accepting the discipline in me, being the rebel I was, not doing anything to conformity. But still there are days in maybe once in 2 months or once in 3 months where the inner being somewhere that a rebel of the older self, I just do not want to do anything, not even a single discipline of my sadhana which I do. And it is so strong, that I end up not doing anything. And by evening, I'm feeling very upset and guilty of myself that why did I waste my time and why did I not do it?
Yeah.
And I'm really upset with that. And the next day morning, I begin and take up the sadhana again. But why this 1 or even 2 days in a year, I would say, or 3 months? Why does it happen now? And how to just remove it?
The study, your seven of Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and the journey, when you're all messed up and you're all scattered, and then you start pulling yourself together and bringing yourself into discipline, Jnana, and Bhakti. In between stages, the body cells throw up. There's a lot of detoxification that happens. The body throws up a lot of stuff out of, and then there is a need for restful. Some of the days you need to rest, and some of the days you just don't have the physical energy to get up and even do anything. So in awareness and so we have heavy rains here, and the light is as usual. These are the disadvantages of living in a remote area. It's picture perfect. The rainy season pictures of Rishikesh are so beautiful. When you click the pictures of the hills and the river and the clouds floating on the river and the mountains, they look so beautiful. But nobody knows the other side of the heaven. The difficulties that one has living in the mountains. There's no light for 4 days, 5 days, and there is no authority you can call up to. You just have to remain in Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. That's all.
So, nice way to train yourself, Ma.
Huh?
Nice way to train yourself. You are just forced to do it, and then it becomes a habit, I guess.
Yes, it becomes a habit, and you come in the flow of the Ganga. That's it. You come in the flow of the Ganga. हो गया तो ठीक है, नहीं हुआ तो कोई बात नहीं.
Acceptance. Yeah.
So does that answer your question, Sunny, what I said about discipline?
Yes, Ma, that's a very beautiful way to put it. In fact, I never realized that ability, willingness, and discipline correspond to Dhyan, Ichha, and Kriya Shakti. So I love the way you framed it here.
Yeah. It is, and what is amazing is that you framed it right. Though you didn't know the Sanskrit words didn't come to your mind, but you framed the sequence right. That there is ability and there is a willingness. Willingness is Ichha Shakti. Ability is Jnana Shakti. And then the discipline comes in Karma Shakti. You put the 3 things together. That is amazing.
Because if you look at the causal model, these are the things which block you. And in my own experience as well, discipline has been a key factor. So it is very important to understand what breaks discipline, right? So I'm very grateful for this answer.
Yeah. And the Jnana, in fact, here in your question, the Jnana is referring to the physical ability or the technique or the art or the relevant fields, study of the field. But Jnana, Vedantic Jnana, which is there, it helps you, it makes you understand the working principles of life as such, and the working principles of your body, of the application of the energy system. Therefore, you're very aware and watchful. What Mokshana asked just now about the lethargy taking over, or the laziness that comes over suddenly one day. If you understand that there is a detox process going in me, and you lovingly allow that for a day, and then bring yourself back the next day with double the exuberance, and I'm going to come. It's like how you do when you're studying for your exams. You slept, let's say, 2 hours more, and you say, okay, I have to compensate for these 2 hours now, and you study more, in the next 2 hours. It's something like that. A watchful, being watchful of what's happening inside. I think we'll have to end up the meeting. I might take one more question, which is there. And then we'll end the meeting because there's no electricity here. So, when we talk about the samyam, application of this samyam, and these questions that I have aligned for you today are all related to the samyam only. We usually tend to be our greatest critics. This is the other question which is there. We usually tend to be our greatest critics. How can one permanently switch off that and turn it around so that we are our greatest cheerleaders instead? This is a very valid question, because your own criticism tends to eat a lot of energy. It eats a lot of energy. It disappoints you. It disapproves you. There is a rejection. The mind, when we say the mind, where is the mind? The mind is not just here. It is a centric point, is there in the heart. It's there in this area, but it's not just here. The mind is there in every cell of your body. Every cell of your body is a universe in itself, is a body in itself. It has the antakaran. Your antakaran, which we say man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. That means the ahankar, the buddhi, the memory, and the mana is there in every cell of your body. So when you're on this trip of self-criticism all the time, and you're not liking yourself, you're not finding yourself up to the mark, you don't find yourself in esteem, or in the relative world, you are seeing people who are successful and people who are up there, out there, and shining bright, and you're self-critical about yourself, even for small little things like not coming in discipline, or not doing enough, or not being able to remember. Why don't I remember these shlokas or mantras? Or why am I not, I'm reading so much, why am I not able to retain all this knowledge? This tension and this rejection and this critical analysis of yourself all the time tends to give stress to the cells. The cells get stressed out, and the cells come in a I hate myself mode. I hate myself more. Then how can you ever cheer yourself? You can't cheer yourself. So love and acceptance is a primary criteria. Love and acceptance is a primary criteria, whoever you are, wherever you are. In this whole big world, even if you're a small chamomile flower by the roadside, in the absolute jungle, even if you're that small chamomile flower on the roadside, you're still a chamomile flower. You're still a beautiful being. You still have a beautiful presence. And it's not important for you to be there among the exotic range of flowers which are there. It's not important. You're being, and you're being in perfection with the whole body and mind that you're thinking. You see people with inabilities, mental, physical disabilities, the only desire that they have is I should be able to walk normally, or I should be able to think normally or behave normally, or be able to earn. Doesn't matter if I don't earn much. So when you are with inabilities, then you want to be normal and come into the normal flow of life. But when you're normal, you're not happy with your being normal. You want to become outstanding. That is something very cruel on yourself. So self-acceptance and love is a very, very important first step to being cheerleaders. Cheerleaders is like, okay, I'm a beautiful small chamomile by the roadside. I really feel great and good about it. Like, can I come out with my best shine? Come out with your best self, wherever you are on the ladder of success, on the worldly ladder, on relative comparisons. It gives a lot of dukkha, and it gives a lot of sadness to the cells of your body. So when you ask a question like this, how can we become our greatest cheerleaders, is with self-acceptance and love. Tanmay, with self-acceptance and love of who you are, just so beautiful you are. You have to tell yourself you're beautiful, wise, and beautiful creation of God. Every day tell yourself you're a beautiful creation of God, and you're just good the way you are. your saying good to yourself should not be dependent on your outside observation of what is good and beautiful. It should be on the inner analysis of what things you are and how perfectly you have been made by God. You know, even if there are inabilities in a person, even if there are physical inabilities in a person because of some sickness or disease, or because of any disorder, even then you have to count yourself every day of the things that you can do that many others can't do. You know, so list of gratitude, list of thankfulness, a lot of loving acceptance each day morning calms down the cells and makes them enthusiastically or with exuberance participate in your journey of life. So your goal, your discipline, your goal, all your abilities, all the work that you do externally have to be done by these cells. You're not doing them. Your ego is not doing anything. Your ego is only wondering and is only calculating the I all the time. Who is actually doing everything? The cells of your body are doing everything. The cells of your body are doing everything. This is the army. This is the team that you have. And you cannot discourage your team by talking ill about you know, your status every day. You can't. You have to motivate the cells of your body with a lot of love, attention, and care. Acceptance to begin with. Acceptance with where you are. Wherever you are on this ladder, you know, you accept yourself, give a lot of love, attention, and that will save a lot of prana. Criticism eats out a lot of prana. This is what I said before we got cut off. Criticism eats a lot of prana. It leads to exhaustion. It leads to exhaustion. Look at yourself. If somebody outside, your friend, starts criticizing you, you become low in no time. Your energy drops down in no time. Whereas if he starts pumping you with things, oh, you're so, and you become so bloated and your whole consciousness expands. The antakarana is working hand in hand with the consciousness. That consciousness is supporting the antakarana, which means that when you feel good, you expand in consciousness. When you feel low, it shrinks. The connection with the consciousness gets cut off. You know, it gets minimized. All right. So I'm ending this meeting because we are having havoc here with the electricity. And thank you so much for being here. I want to see all of you in the Para Apara Jyotish Vidya. Nobody is going to skip participating. All of you join. And those who haven't paid the fees, those who haven't connected with me, message to me, please confirm your participation because the list will be cut off now. This week, I'm going to work with the list. You know, everybody will be put in line. We have a Sankalp Puja on the 13th. I have a Sankalp Puja. It's a very beautiful initiation ceremony for all of you. A mandala will be made. Your names will be written on the mandala. And I will be doing a puja on behalf of everyone. So make sure that you're confirming your seats, paying up your fees this week. Thank you so much. Love you all loads.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much,
Love
ma'am.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.